let's take it through right to Poulomi first. Poulomi, you've been, you know, I envy Poulomi because she was actually inside the house when this decision or the bill was tabled. But Poulomi, just take us through the political journey somewhere down the line where the women reservation bill comes into question, because, you know, it's been so long, so arduous, bought over, you know what, 6 times in the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. The timing possibly, it can't be better timing than what it is right now.
Absolutely. I think the moment has finally come, and we'll all be hoping, of course, that the bill is passed. At least all the women who do believe that this has been quite the arduous and daunting journey, as you said. It obviously, the architect of it was CPI MP and leader Geeta Mukherjee, who pushed through with this bill and who championed the cause of 1/3 reservation for women in Parliament and in legislative assemblies. And finally, that moment, unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She is not here to see that possibly, finally, after many attempts at bringing this bill to Parliament and having it passed, finally, probably a moment has come when we won't see as much opposition to this bill. Like you said, it was first introduced in 1996 during Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda's time. It has been introduced several times. Every time it lapsed with the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. The last time round, of course, it's what was the 2008 version of the bill. It was brought to the Rajya Sabha because usually bills that are passed through the Council of States do not lapse. They stay alive. And that bill, of course, was passed through the Rajya Sabha. But again, the parties that had then extended support to the UPA at that point of time suddenly backed out at the last moment when it was to come to the Lok Sabha. So it wasn't taken up for consideration, wasn't passed. And then, of course, it went into the cold storage. What the Narendra Modi government has brought forward, though, even though the last bill was alive, is a new version of the bill. Much of it is what exactly the Geeta Mukherjee committee had suggested, though, of course, there are some contentions, Preeti, which, of course, we'll be discussing through the course of the day, because it's going to come up in the discussion in the Lok Sabha, which is, of course, going to be about quota for OBC women. But yes, that moment has come. Lok Sabha takes it up for discussion 11 a.m. this morning.
Well, you know, in 4 words, I would reckon today or yesterday, we etched history when we tabled that bill. Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, that's what the bill was called as it was tabled. You know, with what Poulomi pointed out, I think it's so important for all of us as well to go back and recount in history of all those women cutting across party lines who fought the good fight. You know, whether it be the left, Poulomi just named Geeta Mukherjee, who was possibly the architect of it, a very short, frail woman, but what a fight she fought. You know, and not just that. 1987 is, of course, the entire journey of the bill. From Rajiv Gandhi constituting a committee chaired by Margaret Alva, whose recommendation in 1987 was that a reservation be given. And then, of course, it coming full circle. And there is, you know, a deep irony or a political irony to that, coming full circle, where it's been tabled in the Narendra Modi government, and in all possibility, it will see the light of day. But Abha Bakai, I want to get you into this conversation, primarily from the, purview, because there are so many out there who say, is this really women empowerment to give 33% reservation? There is so much else that one can do. Why can't political parties give out tickets more? You know, that's the true empowerment. Reservation is not the way.
That is a debate for sure, but I think that this is a huge step in the right direction, Preeti. If we take a look at the latest UN numbers, and we're all aware, they said that to achieve actual equality in terms of political representation globally, it would take more than a century, 130 years to get there. There are only 13 countries in the world right now that have equal representation. There are less than 30 that have 30%, right? And India, of course, is way down the ladder. So this is now, even if it's something that comes into effect in 2029, it's something that's going to accelerate the process at a much faster pace. It's put it front and center and said that, listen, women are the ones that are going out there and making decisions today. How can you not have equal representation? And I, for one, am so ecstatic to see some of these new age, progressive, young leaders come to the fore. You know, whether it was like a Nayana Motama, who incidentally, apart from nepotism, is actually also from the SC/ST background. Whether it's this young MP in Thiruvananthapuram who's taken her baby to work. But this is the face of New India. So, you know, while everyone can keep talking about those that have led in the past, this is what we're looking to in the future.
You know, Pooja, I'll bring you in on this, because if you look at it, you know, always the kingmaker, never quite the king or the queen, you know, one can say. If you look at the vote percentage, it's gone up dramatically. There are vote banks, you know, a woman vote bank operates on its own. You know, there are no benchmarks that it follows in terms of caste, religion. You know, you just don't know what it's going to do.
True.
It's very dynamic in that sense. But for the first time, do you see deliverance where it's due? Because if you look at representation politically, where do we stand? 10 to 15% where women are concerned? And do you think the time is right? And this is one of the reasons why we need representation.
I definitely think, Preeti, that it's a landmark decision, but while we have these women who are going to be in the parliament with seats that are reserved when women have to fight, so there are seats that are reserved for women when they contest, but to have 33% in parliament, it's something that we know that women have had to fight to even get into political life. Most of the women who've been able to contest earlier, specifically in rural areas, have had a man behind who would eventually take decisions. So this would be nice to have a woman sitting in the parliament and be able to take that as a policy. But I would love to actually see eventually policies being made for women that will help these women as 33% when you're there. It needs to benefit women with the decisions taken. Otherwise, it could just be tokenism. And that's why I do think it's a landmark decision. But we'll have to see what these women netas eventually do.
You know, Pooja has a point. But if you look even at the panchayat level where there is reservation, you'll see more of the sarpanch pati and less of the sarpanch. And it actually is a placard right outside their house. But, you know, there's a caveat in that as well. Because in a state like Rajasthan, where there was actually a study, and Nabila, I'll bring you in, where, you know, uplifting and women emancipation is concerned, that the Sarpanch Patis over the course of the last 10 years or 5 years have dramatically gone down. So Sarpanch Pati, the placard has been actually replaced by the name of that woman. So empowering women with political power has its dividends.
Absolutely. And what I'd say, Preeti, that it's all right if the men are fronting the women for now. At least let's normalize the fact that more number of women are coming out. Reservations are there for women to come out. And one can only imagine that maybe the next generation, your daughter, will have a lot more confidence to take on without her husband or anyone, a man basically backing her. So this is a great step forward to gender parity. And I'd say that in politics, it's been by far dismal. Even business, for that matter, hardly you see women in leadership roles across the globe as well. And in India, it's even worse. So in politics, I think if we take this step with reservation of 33% women, I think that will have a nice effect.
Far-reaching impact.
Yeah, far-reaching effect even on businesses. But I'd surely say that if you have a sub-quota and reservation for SC, ST, OBC, you've got to have a reservation for Muslim women as well.
No, yeah, well, you know, we'll get down to it. We'll speak to Aishwarya and Poulomi, because the quota within a quota is something that was tweaked where the original bill was concerned. So we're going to talk about that. But, you know, Akshita, you want to jump in? I want to ask all of us, is anyone against reservation?
You know, I'm a bit...
You're on the fence on
this
that?
one. For starters, you know, let me just start off by saying I wish our parliament looked more like our newsroom. Because, you know, it's women-driven in the India Today newsroom. Hence, gold standard of journalism, gold standard of legislation is how, you know, you ensure more women are there. Having said that, the reason I'm on the fence on this is because I've never felt reservation or quota is really the answer to empowerment or equality. 25 years ago, I wish, you know, you started off saying now is the right time. I feel 25 years ago maybe would have been the right time to have brought in this legislation. It would have set the stage right now for 33% and beyond women to be in parliament today. Having said that, you know, my only point about reservation is, are we really empowering women with quota? You look at our political parties right now. You look at the women also who are there. Largely people from political backgrounds. Are you going to see grassroots women really make it to the parliament in the get-go with this reservation? That's why I feel quota within quota, yes, is a discussion we need to have. But beyond that also, I believe that society maybe, we need to change a bit.